Now, you might wake up in the morning, if all you do is you don't do RPM, all you do is on. Here's on. Outcomes and necessities. You know your outcome and what's necessary to get it done? That's a shortcut. It's not as emotionally rich, though, by the way, when you leave out the purpose. You get the idea? It takes longer to think through and write out the purpose, but there's a different state you're in, as you just said, ma'am, when you're connected to the why. In fact, it'll change your to-do list. It'll change your map. It'll change what's necessary. That's why it takes a little more time to do initially, but after a while it won't. It'll just be in you. What's my outcome? What's my outcome? Okay, let's get crystal clear on the outcome. Okay, now that I got that, now, why? And you'll get good at the why. A couple key words. You'll start to know the words that always fire you up. And we're going to look at that in a moment, by the way. Because words change emotion. And change the emotion, you change what people actually do. Not what they write down they're going to do, what they actually do. You change the quality of how they do it. Because it changes their state. Make sense? So if you're going to master RPM, and you're not going to do that today, but if you want to, let me just kind of give you the overview. There's 7 principles of power. Just capture them if you want. First one, we're going to come back to right now, but I'll start with it at the top. Believe it or not, above anything else is the power of language. Why is language so important in managing your life, your emotions, your results? Because we don't experience life. We experience the way we repackage life the minute we label it. See, if you have an experience and in your body, your nervous system is feeling this sense of discomfort, then think of it this way. There's these uncomfortable feelings coming through you. Think of it like a funnel. And all this noise, environmental stimulus is coming through you. And then you have certain words you use very often, 2 or 3 that you use. Kind of like you're taking all this juice in and you're going to have these cookie cutters. And the words you use most often are pissed off, frustrated, and annoyed. You're going to get a very different experience than if the person has the habit of being enraged, right, crazy, want to kill someone. Or someone else who goes, you know, that peeves me. They take that same stuff and goes, peeves me. Someone else goes, I want to kill someone. It has nothing to do with the actual experience. It's the words. I'll give you an example. Anybody here know who Ken Blanchard is? Wrote the 1 Minute Manager? So Ken's a dear friend of mine. I've known Ken for, 30 years. And if you haven't ever heard Ken speak, he's the real thing. He's such a sweet soul. And he takes complex things and makes them really simple. Ken is one of those universally happy guys. And one of the reasons he's happy is his language patterns. See, we all have habitual language patterns. We filter the word and we put the label of what it is on it. And the minute you label an experience, the experience becomes that in your body. So some people will say, well, if I said to you, you're mistaken about that, John. How do you feel if somebody says you're mistaken? What if I say, John, you're wrong? Who feels a little different now? What if I say, John, you're lying? Who here will get into real intense experience if somebody says you're lying, right? Because your integrity is there. Now, all you have to change one word and we can change your biochemistry, right? Well, we use words all the time with our experience just because it's the habit of what we use most often. My mother's passed away, bless her soul, but when she was alive, I told this story. She used to always be humiliated by everything. She'd call my house back the days before email, and I was, traveling like crazy, and there was a answering machine, the old style answering machine, and she'd leave a message. I'm humiliated that I have to leave a message for my son. What is he, President of the United States or something? And in the beginning, I get hooked, but then I noticed my mom was humiliated by everything. She's humiliated by the drugstore clerk. Because anytime she was uncomfortable, she called it humiliated. The one day I explained to her what humiliated was, and we had this interesting conversation. And I got to see there were many other choices besides humiliated. You could be pissed off, frustrated, ignored, loved. But we get in the habits of attaching things. So Ken Blanchard, the reason I'm bringing him up, Ken and I are good friends, and we were talking one time about how words affect people. And he goes, Tony, he said, I have this attitude of life. The worst, the worst a day can be is a great day for me. He said, if you're going to go golf, or you're going to go fish, you can't get back from golfing pissed off. Because the worst the day of golfing is going to be is a great day. And that's the label he has for everything. Great. So he went on with a group of people I know. Some of them are from the entertainment business, and some are some, very mucky bigwigs, and they're used to having things their way. And they went to Africa, and they went on a safari, and Ken went with them. And I've been on the safari before, and it's a pretty intense safari and a beautiful safari. And the people running it know their stuff, first-class organization. But one particular person will leave unnamed, who's a very famous Hollywood producer, decides that he wants to take control of the show from the guy who runs it, who lives in Africa, and he knows what he's doing. And so he says, look, I want these roofs off. I don't want them just open up. I want them off. I want to be able to shoot the whole time. And he said, look, sir, he said, right now everything's fine, but if the truck were to break down, you want that roof on. You don't want to leave off the roof. The guy was so abusive, the man finally bent. So sure enough, Ken, all these guys are out there, they're taking pictures, and they're out in the middle of this crater, Ngorongoro crater. If you've ever been there, it's an unbelievable place. It's like every kind of animal you could imagine is there. And sure enough, as they start going later, the guy goes, let's stay a little longer, let's stay a little longer. And he's very influential, and he pushes the guide, and they stay out longer than they would. Now they got to rush back before darkness, and they don't have the roof on, and you guessed it, the truck breaks down. They're in the middle of nowhere. No one's answering the radio. Lions and tigers and bears, oh my. Everything's going to creep in. And one guy's going, oh my God, we're going to die. Oh, it's your fault. He's screaming at the other guy, and the other guy's screaming at him. And I got the play-by-play from two other people that were there besides Ken. But they told me that in the midst of all these people freaking out, angry, and people scared and everything else, because you could actually see the animals coming, and they're taking out their rifles, and it's getting tense. And in the middle of stuff, Ken looks out and says, this is inconvenient. And he wasn't faking. That's the word he used for this experience. It's inconvenient. And that's the word he uses all the time for things other people are stressed out about. And as a result, that's all it is inconvenient to him. And sure enough, guess what? Finally, the radio worked. Within a half hour, a guy came out. They brought some other trucks. They got these guys out of there. They left the truck there. Everybody was fine. But the people are like, oh my God, you killed us. Other people, we're going to die, we're going to die, we're going to die. You son of a bitch. I mean, every language pattern you can imagine. Only one, inconvenience. Much of your life has nothing to do with your life. It's the way you use language habitually. Language is the trigger for meaning, and meaning equals emotion. So when I think of RPM, it's about language, because it's about the questions you ask, because those questions control what you focus on, but it's also the words you use to describe your outcome, the words you describe to describe the why. One word can change the whole game. If your description of you're a stockbroker, and what you describe, what you do is you go, I got a cold call on people every day, that's not going to get you moving very much. Remember, one guy I was talking to him, he's so much more successful, he's brand new, he was blown by everybody, so I went and interviewed him. Because, all these other people are bitching and griping, he was having such a great day. I said, what are you? He goes, I'm a treasure hunter. I said, what do you mean? He goes, every time I call the phone, I'm searching for buried treasure. You see, you don't get treasure every time, but when you get it, there's going to be, if you keep digging, there's going to be a treasure. And sure enough, you get one client that would do more business for him than all the other guys got. But the difference was when he called people on the phone, he's searching for treasure. Does that change the state? Does that change the quality of his voice? Will that actually change the result he's likely to get with a stranger? Yes or no? So ladies, you've got a ring that this man's about to give you, he gives you, and somebody else sees it and they say, well, that's kind of nice. Versus that's magnificence. Versus what a rock. Would it change how you feel? Yes or no? A little or completely? I say to you, you come to me and say, Tony, I'm single, you meet thousands of people, I'm your friend, help me out. Set me up, man. And so I say to you, okay, I know this really nice girl, this really nice guy. You got a state about it, don't you? What if I say, I know this woman, I know this man, I know this woman who is delicious. I didn't even say anything that makes any sense, but how many are in a different state already, right? It's like if I said during the break, we're going to have some really nutritious snacks. Yay. Even people that are health-oriented are like, yay. But when I say it's delicious, does it change completely how you feel about it? Yes or no? You have to know every moment of your life. This is not about planning. It's about creating. Think about planning as creating. Whenever I think about planning, I'm creating something. And you create things with both your vision and your language, and then your action. But your vision and your language will shape how you feel, which will shape what you do or don't do. So this is the part that takes more time in the beginning, takes longer, but it's so much faster, because once you know the patterns of what move you, you just use that and boom, it's like knowing the light switch to turn yourself on and rock and roll. And anybody who's the best in the world at what they do, they know how to turn themselves on every time. They know their triggers. That's what RPM is really about too. So this is not some frickin' time management program. Like, because every system, I don't care, and obviously Mr. Covey is a dear friend of mine, senior and junior, right? This is not Franklin Covey. This is not a little planning system. This is not pulling out your BlackBerry. This is not using things or whatever tool you use. This is a system of thinking and feeling and producing massive results that you want to take to whatever system you go to, and ideally maybe have a system that is set up this way. But even if you don't, you can do it with just the thinking process. So I want you to start with this first principle of power, this principle of language, what you might think of as the principle of passion. That's really what it is. The power of language is it produces passion. And by the way, passion is the genesis of genius. It's a great quote by a brilliant man, Tony Robbins. No, I thought that sometime. I thought that's really true. I wrote it down. It's like passion is the genesis. You see some genius in anybody, it's because they're passionate. That's where genius flows. And passion is because it's about something more than yourself. It's about something larger. Now, let's do this for a moment. Let's have you write now, anywhere you want in your notes. I'm going to give you 1 minute, and I want you to write as fast as you can words that would increase your emotional intensity. Like for me, I'll give you some of mine. Mine are passion, mine are love, mine are make a difference, mine is transform, have an impact, right? Have fun. There's certain key words. There are roles in my life. You know, father of the clan, you know, mentor, leader, friend. Certain mentor, there's certain language patterns. When I think about myself as that person, I do things differently from that place, right? So I want you to just write down any words at all for 60 seconds. Just write down real fast. What are some words or phrases that would excite you or juice up your life if they were being used regularly, that'll move you emotionally? Choose words that you're associated to, either in a context like your health or your business or just overall words. Just write words that would move you. If you write a word and doesn't move you so much, cross it out and write a different word that moves you more. I'll warn you, a 5-cent word is often more powerful than a 50-cent word. You can say, I am becoming a facilitator of transformational change around the globe at this moment now. Or you can write down, kick-ass, take names. Sometimes kick-ass, take names will move you more than facilitator of the human transformational experience. Write some phrases now that you might use when you think about things you want to achieve in your business. What do you want to do? And write them in words that are passionate, not just increase sales. What would you do? What would you put in front of that word, increase sales? If you're going to produce, crush it, transform the marketing department, take it to a new level. What are some phrases, words, that if you put them around outcomes that you have for your business, it would excite you to do it? Instead of having to do it, you get to do it. Can you think of an activity that you normally do not like to do? You'd rather have somebody else do it if you could. Think of an activity like that right now, that you either put off, or you try to get other people to do, or you finally do get other people to do. How many can think of an activity like that? Part of your business, part of your life. Great. Someone stand up and tell me what that activity is. By the way, stand up if you can remember also a time when you did the activity and you actually enjoyed it. It was an exception, but you actually enjoyed it. Who's had both those experiences? Something you hate to do, but then you had a time you can remember where you really enjoyed doing it. It was the same activity, but somehow it worked. Okay, how about right here? Yes, give her a hand. Do I have to tell you a BMI hand, ladies and gentlemen? Tell us, what was the activity you don't normally like to do, you like to push off on others?
Paperwork.
Paperwork.
Yeah.
Now, the word paperwork alone, does that, when you guys hear that word, how many of you don't want to do it either? Raise your hand. So just the way she's languaging, by the way, she's not telling you the outcome, she's telling you the activity. Think of it this way. If someone told you the process of having a child and all the processes you have to do to raise that child, and you were focused on what you had to do to raise the child versus the outcome, would you ever, or the purpose, would you ever do it, yes or no? If someone would have told you in advance all you would have to do in your business to make your business successful, and you were focused on all you had to do, the to-dos, versus the outcome of owning and growing your own business, would you ever have gotten into it, yes or no? So she's focused on the to-do, and she's languaged the to-do in a way that is incredibly moving. Okay, so paperwork. And so when you normally think about doing paperwork, how do you language that to yourself? What do you say to yourself? I
hate doing it. It bogs me down. It doesn't add to my results, which is making sales.
That's right. And notice, it doesn't add to my results, which is making sales. Great. So now, there was a time you actually enjoyed paperwork?
Yes.
Tell me about that time.
When I was younger and I was just starting out in my career, and it gave me a way to process my day and order my thinking. So it gave me these chunks of accomplishments.
Ah. And so when you talked about paperwork then, you didn't call it paperwork then, did you?
No, I called it probably priorities.
Yes. What did you call it? Priorities? What?
Probably priorities.
So what would your phrase be back then, do you think? When you're thinking about this, you'd say, I'm going to get to, or I'm going to do, or
I'm
what?
going to prioritize my day. These are my projects.
Ah, she called it prioritizing her projects. How many feel better about that than paper frickin' work? Now, if she just changed that language alone, I want you to think about right now. Do you have some paperwork waiting for you at home?
Yes, of course.
Of course.
Yeah.
So what is that paperwork really going to accomplish if you get it done?
Well, in some ways it moves things forward. I mean,
If you don't do it, what's going to happen?
things aren't going to get scheduled. They're not going to make deadline. Clients are going to be unhappy.
And what will that do to sales?
That will drop them eventually. Or it'll make me run around trying to fix things.
So is sales important to you?
Absolutely.
And are making people happy, your clients happy, important to you?
Well, yeah, I mean, the sales are important because basically what I'm doing is helping people with their business. So that's...
Yes, and how many people fail because they don't do their paperwork, do you think?
Well, I mean, if you put it that way, that's not why they fail.
I didn't put it that way. I just asked the question.
Different question, yeah.
How many saw that? Did I say people fail because they don't do their paperwork? No. If I said that, her brain would have said no. I just asked her an honest question. How many small businesses you think fail because they don't handle their paperwork, i.e., they don't handle the individual transactions and the details of their priorities effectively? How many businesses do you think fail for that reason? How many do you think?
I think definitely all of them can fail if they don't do that.
And you teach these people what to do so they can succeed?
Right. No.
Isn't that what you do?
Yes, yeah. But wait a minute, no. When you're talking about paperwork.
No, I don't talk about paperwork. I talk about results.
Right.
And part of the result of a sale is to capture it, deliver it in a form where it can be both followed through on, accounted for, details of. Otherwise, it's part of a chain of value. You can't just get someone to say yes and have them get the final value. Most people like to simplify to just the yes. But the real value is not getting someone to say yes. Salespeople think that way. The real value is delivering each step of value along the way that allows you to continue to get that value back to the customer and clients. If I said to you, what's more important, a molecule or an atom?
The atom.
Really?
Well, the molecule.
Okay, which one's more important, the molecule or the cell? The cell or the organ or the body?
Right. It's
the body or the community or the ecology or the planet or the solar system or the universe. Which one's more important?
To me, it's the little things that make up the big things.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if that's quote unquote the right answer, but it's the little things that make up the big things. So to me, that's more important.
Is paperwork a little thing or a big thing?
Well, it's a little thing.
So that's the most important thing is the little things?
But it makes up a big thing, which in the end you could say would be important because it feeds the purpose.
It feeds, look at her face, it feeds the purpose.
Yeah.
Paperwork purpose.
Right. Oh my God.
So let me ask you a question.
It's an epiphany.
How important is paperwork? How important is paperwork?
It's very.
0 to 10, where would you put it?
10.
Yeah. So maybe we need to call it something different than paperwork. What is it really? If you were to name it today, not just what you did in the past, what is it really?
It's the steps to getting to the purpose. If I had to read it.
It's also a promise that's being kept.
Right.
Are you about keeping promises?
Absolutely.
Have you dropped out your promises because you didn't have your paperwork or priorities organized?
Sure, or stressed
Or
out.
have other people dropped it out because they didn't get the information needed in a timely fashion? And most businesses, you're telling me, probably fail because they drop out the little things?
Absolutely.
Because they think it's a little thing when really most people are majoring in minor things, and this is not a minor one, is it? But we start thinking it is, and the minute we give it a label that it's a minor thing that doesn't really matter, then what happens is we no longer give it the focus, and we don't give it the focus, and then it bites us later on. The truth is, which one is more important? The molecule or the atom? The molecule or the cell or the organ or the body? Which one is more important? They're equally important. You take any one out of the chain of existence and the whole thing collapses. There is no little things and big things. There's just the things. There's the things that matter. Is this one of those?
Yes.
If you were going to coach your son or daughter or a child or a dear friend in a business, what would you tell them about paperwork?
I would tell them that if it's important.
Can you hear the change in her voice? How many hear the change in her voice?
Is it changed?
Is there a power in her voice right now, yes or no? An authority? Go ahead, tell me what you tell them. You tell them what?
That paperwork is extremely important to the outcome. It's, part of the passion of the purpose, and that's really all you have in life. And I did have that conversation with my daughter.
Give her a hand, ladies and gentlemen. Do you see how important it is, A, to be aware of your language? Language creates meaning. Meaning creates emotion. Emotion determines what you're going to do or not do. You can never again think about time management in terms of to-dos. You need to start with language. The questions you ask and then the words you use to answer it. That's why you got to craft your outcomes, craft your results, craft the purpose. Takes longer, but you'll do it. Not only that, you'll enjoy it. She says, I'm going to go home and crush that paperwork. That's the word I would use. She go back and she said, I'm going to be, and what if she created a role for herself? I am the queen of paper prioritization. I am the Madonna I'm the master of whatever. She comes up with some playful thing, and it can be silly and stupid, but it'll change completely how she thinks about it, and she feels about it, and she'll go straight doing it. How many follow this? By the way, how was she influenced to remember the truth? By me lecturing her? Telling her? No, everything was asking her. Now, in addition, if you want to follow through, remember, if you link more of your needs, there's 6 needs. If you link 1 need to it, you got an interest. 2, you got a drive. You link 3 needs to it, you're going to do it. Now, she was linking feeling insignificant to paperwork. Significance is one of the most important things in her life. Right? She wants to significantly contribute. True? And it wasn't that significant to the contribution before, but all of a sudden, now she gets it is. It's part of the chain of life. It's part of the chain of keeping a promise. It's part of the chain of my integrity. It's part of my chain of being able to make a difference. And you know what? Everybody else is lousy at it, and I'm not anymore. Because how the hell can I help somebody else if I don't do it myself? And so now she sets a new standard. So now it's significant. And by the way, if you want to make it more fulfilling, she can also say, I'm connected to it because it's connected to the what, she said? To the outcome. There's a purpose here. Now there's connection. Now, doing this helps me to contribute. Well, I'm starting to meet a lot of different needs. Contribution, significance, connection, love. That's enough to get her to do it. Now, when she goes home, she can even develop a strategy to enjoy it. Like I interview people that do things that other people hate, find out how they do it. Somebody loves to clean their house. I say, great, well, let's look at these 6 human needs, because if you love it, it meets many of your needs, at least 3 or 4. On a 0 to 10, cleaning your house, how much certainty does it give you? And the lady says, 10. You say, why? She goes, because I know how to do it well, and I do it well every time. I have control of it. Before your emails, as a way for you to get a sense of accomplishment, knocking a few off, doing something that's meaningless, you used to, when you're stressed out, organize your desk. How many are old enough to remember that? Now, you don't even have a desk. Your desk is your laptop, right? So you knock off emails and things to feel a sense of accomplishment, which is you're just being active. You're doing activity. You're not accomplishing anything. Nothing significant. You're doing movement, trying to make it feel like achievement because you feel uncertain about things, out of control. That's what you used to do with paperwork, so you could take it back. What else? I get variety, she says. Cleaning the house? She goes, yes, I have 5 children. You never know what you're going to find. 0 to 10, how much significance? 100. Why? She goes, when I'm walking around the house, she goes, I play tapes like yours. I do significant, important things. I have time to think through my life as I'm doing these things while I'm accomplishing something. Plus, she goes, most people have a dirty house, and mine isn't dirty. People come over, it's spotless. I feel proud. What else? Connection and love from cleaning the house? She goes, yes, because while I'm cleaning, I pray for my children. I'm ironing, I'm praying for them. 10. Growth from cleaning the house? Yes, because I'm listening to tapes, I'm thinking of the future, I'm creating my life. Contribution? Yes, to my kids, to my family, to myself. She meets all her needs. That's why she loves cleaning house. Somebody else uses language like, I'm not cleaning that frickin' stuff. It's a waste of my frickin' time. So all depends on what needs you related to. How many follow? Change your words, change your perception, change your procedure. Some people say, I love paying bills. I'm going, you love paying bills? Yes. There's so many of them. And they're always changing. Really, variety. What else? She goes, well, I go, but I pay the bills in different rooms of the house. And I play different music in each room. And then she says it feels significant and she feels connected because she says, when I sign the checks, I think of the person and I send them love. And I think I want them to prosper. And then she goes, I know that comes back to me. It's just what you focus on. What you focus on is first controlled by the words you use. And that's controlled first by the questions you ask, whether you're aware of it or not. How many get the power of this principle, the power of language? Raise your hand. Say I. Let's put back on the stage then. Here's a couple other principles. Again, I won't walk you through them all in detail, but I'll give you a little step at a time here. So first principle is language. The power of language, which I think of as the principle of passion. The second power is the power of results focus. I'm not going to take any time on this because you got it now, don't you? You focus on the result. It's like taking the power of your mind and body and brain and putting it into laser power instead of having it scattered. You're no longer scattered on activities. Third principle, really, of RPM, it's the power of purpose. No more time on this one. You got it. Does the why change the how? Yes or no? Does it change the quality of how you go about it when you're doing it for a different reason? Yes or no? I'll give you my core belief in life. Motive does matter. Motive does matter. If you want to know my pain in life, my ultimate pain is people think of me as a motivator. I hate that term. Mr. Motivator. You know, people go, I don't need any motivation. I say, well, that's good because that's not what I do. Right? No, they'll have a nice big belly. They go, I don't need any motivation. I'll go, that's obvious. You're highly motivated to eat. Right? I'm the why guy. I want to know why you say you want to lose weight, but you keep eating. Because what motivation is your motive for action. I'm very interested in what your motive is. You should understand your motive, your why, your purpose. That's where all the power of life is. And I believe motive does matter. If your motive in your business is just to make money, you can make it because you're focused on it. But I believe life moves to support whatever supports more of life. And I think a reason why Home X or a Zappos grows the way they do is because they have a higher purpose as well. And that higher purpose is to serve something more than themselves. See, if I'm just trying to meet my needs, I'm going to get a certain level of insight. And I looked at my life, throughout my life over the last 30 years and thought, stuff happened at times that anybody who was there would go, that's impossible. No way that could happen. How could he know that? How could you shift that person? How could you change that situation? I've had these moments throughout my life. And I believe insight comes because I wasn't focused on me succeeding or failing. I was completely focused on serving them, and the insight shows up. You're trying to take care of your family, you're going to get a different level of insight than just yourself. Trying to take care of your company, even bigger insight. Trying to take care of your community, trying to take care of the world, humanity, without being ego, not saying it. If that's really in your intention affects the quality of what you're exposed to, of the insight of what comes through you. Motive does matter. And we can always shift our motive. There's nothing wrong with wanting to meet your needs and others. The game changes. And by the way, if you do this in your planning, i.e. creating, the game changes. Okay? You make it a ritual. RPM is a ritual of questions. You got to get it in your body as a sequence. When you get it in your body as a sequence and you lock it in and you condition it, it'll just happen. It'll happen like, what do I need to do? Used to happen inside of you. Next principle, number 4. It's the power of mapping. That means that once I know the result I'm after, once I know why I'm doing it, I got the right language, I need to come up with a map. You know what's interesting about a map? It doesn't always work. How many of you ever used before, in the old days, before they had Google Maps, there was a company called MapQuest? Whoever made the fatal mistake of using this crappy product? And what happened if you use MapQuest? What usually happened? You ended up getting a place worse than if you would have guessed. Because their map had nothing to do with the reality of the territory. Well, the more you do something, the more you're able to come up. The first time you do a map, you might be a little off. But if you do a map again and again and again, pretty soon you start learning the pathways to get to a result quicker, don't you? When you start making these maps, these action items, you're going to start to find certain ones get you further than others. And pretty soon, what took a long time, you're going to know the shortcuts. Oh, I know how to get from here to there quicker. I know the map. That's what used to be your to-do list. Now it's going to be a map to an outcome that's being fueled by your purpose. Okay? And then very quickly, as a principle, number 5, the power of chunking. So you've been in this seminar this week, and you got all this information. And I've attempted to get you to at least capture it in one place in the form of principles and actions. That alone chunks it a bit. That means you could turn that part of your book, kind of review the principles, right? You know, you can read the whole book, look at the principles, and you can look at your action item and say, okay, what does this relate to? You could just make it a to-do list of all these things you're going to do and figure out when you're going to do them. Or you could take all those to-dos. You could say, okay, these all relate to marketing. These are all the actions related to the outcome of making sales better. These are all the outcomes made towards culture and improving my culture. And you could take this random list of to-dos and maybe fit them in 6 drawers, 6 categories. See, years ago, I started do chunking. I started to realize I could get out of stress very quickly if I just learned to chunk things. I know to get out of stress, but now when I thought of my day and I got interrupted, instead of going, oh my God, I got 57 individual things to do, there's only 3 things I'm after today. I get refocused on my outcome. How many follow this? Say I. You can do this with your project. You can do this with your week. You can do this with your company. So after a while, I came up with this idea. What if you could imagine your own home, the home you live in right now. What if we could take everything out of your house and you weren't there? And we dumped it all into just boxes. And the boxes got all collapsed into each other. And you were going to move and you weren't around. And then people just took all your stuff and just dumped it in the living room of your new house. Everything mixed in there. Underwear, toilet paper, soap, tissue, notebooks, computers, books, cosmetics, all mumbled and jumbled together in the middle of the floor. Would that be somewhat stressful for you? Yes or no? But what if, in advance, you took everything in your life and knew it would fit into one of, let's say, 2 chests of drawers, 6 drawers in each, 12 drawers. Maybe giant drawers, categories. Like everything fit into, home appliances or cooking or intimate wear or whatever. If you had those 12 and everything could fit in one of those, you could take anybody in that room, once they knew those categories, how quickly could we transform that living room? How fast? Yeah, oh, this goes here, this goes there, boom, 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 boom. And by the way, when it's done, how quickly could you then get what you want? You know exactly where to go, put all your focus in there, you open the drawer, you find what you want. Wouldn't you like to be able to do that with all your outcomes? All your action items? I'm going to show you how. And this process is a simple way of managing your life. And I'll give you the big picture first for a moment. I'll scribble it up here as a chunking device. Think of your life this way, as a gross generalization. And by the way, chunking is an art, not a science. What does that mean? Is there a right way to do chunking, yes or no? No, there's no right way to do it because it's art. What somebody else thinks is beautiful, you might think is ugly. Chunking is to meet whose needs? Your own. Now, if you're trying to chunk to help other people, then you're going to have something that's got a little more science than art to it. But think of it this way. If we were going to try to manage your life, what if we had a life management system, not a time management system? Because the only reason for time is it's a resource so you can get the life you want. Is that fair to say? And let's take 2 aspects of your life. But one area is, let's say, your personal life. That's an area of your life, your personal life, that you want to manage. And another area of your life is your professional life. Whatever you do professionally, running the company, marketing director, sales director, maybe you run many companies, you're an entrepreneur. What if we could take everything related that's most important in your life personally, and we could focus on the things that needed to happen regularly. So for example, if you don't focus on making your health better, does it get better or worse as the years go by? Which one? You can't afford not to give it consistent focus. And by the way, do you have to keep improving it, yes or no? If you try to keep it static, is health a static thing, yes or no? No. What about relationships? If you don't focus on relationships, do they tend to get better or worse? So there's some areas of your life, within your personal life. If this was an area of life you're managing, is your personal and professional life. Your whole life could be managed in these two categories. If underneath these, we could say, everything that matters fits within 6, 8, 10, 12 drawers. They might be things, and I would call these categories of constant and never-ending improvement. For short, we call them categories of improvement. These are areas that you've got to constantly focus on once a week, once a month, some of them once a day. They're areas that never go away. Does that make sense? And so in your personal life, what would be some areas you got to constantly focus on? You might say, well, there's my health. There might be a drawer called family. There might be another one on finances. Does that make sense? And within those areas, you could have specific goals for this year, for this month, for this week. You might have certain musts that had to go in there. But you could put everything in there, and you could look at it once a week or once a month to make sure you're on target. Am I making sense? Yes or no? Will this help you to chunk your life a little bit? Yes or no? Because if your whole personal life could fit into 5, 6, 7, 8, 10, 12 max of these, you could chunk it, and you could keep track that I'm still making progress. Because most people make progress on what they focus on. So they focus on their business, and their body deteriorates. Who can relate to this one? Raise your hand. Or they focus on their body, and their relationships deteriorate. You're so damn into yourself, you're never even here. Or they focus on their kids, and their intimate relationship breaks down. But if you had a way to keep on target, you could still put more focus on some things than others, but you kept it balanced, your life would work better. What are some areas, categories within your business that you have to constantly focus on and improve? Someone tell me. What are some categories that never go away? Tell me. Marketing. That would be a drawer. What's another one? Sales. What's another one? Accounting, finances, cost controls. What's another one? Culture. Empowered employees. Do you think you could take everything in your business and maybe put it in a maximum of 12 drawers? And then whenever you had a meeting, you could say, what are our outcomes? Instead of this long list, you go, what are our outcomes around empowering our employees? What are the outcomes for this year, for this quarter, for this month, for this meeting related to sales? What are our outcomes for this meeting? To marketing. And guess what? Then you don't have this situation where you're doing great one part of the business, the other part bites you. See, if she doesn't do the paperwork, i.e. the finances, the production, whatever, and she focuses only on sales, we can guarantee her failure. It's only a matter of time. And it's not because she doesn't care, it's because she doesn't have a system of chunking her life. She gets overwhelmed because she thinks the sales is all these things. More likely, she makes paperwork all these things. I talk to people all the time. Somebody who doesn't work out regularly, doesn't exercise regularly, I'll say, how important do you think working? Oh, yeah. And you'll finally get them when they say, I'm going to work out. But I'll say, why haven't you worked out up until now? I know you're committed now, but up until now, I want, not excuses, I'm not making you wrong. Just tell me, when you think about working out, tell me how you think about it. And listen, here's what they'll say to me. Well, just, God, it's so much work. Really? Well, tell me what do you got to do to work out? So, well, me right now, I don't even have any running shoes. I don't have any gear. I don't have any clothes. I'd have to go buy the stuff. I'd have to drive to the sporting goods store and, then I have to go in there and try stuff on. And, I don't feel very good about my size now anyway. It'd be uncomfortable. And then, after I pick what's working, I don't really know what I should be wearing. I don't know if I'm going to run or I'm going to work out or lift weights. So I don't know what to buy, but let's assume I got all that stuff. Well, then what? Well, then, I got to go to the front and sit there in that damn counter and wait, and then write the check and then get in my car. And, well, what else do I do? Then I have to find a place to work out. Okay, well, what does that mean? Well, I'd have to, go on the web and search for, clubs nearby, and then, then I have to drive to each of those individual clubs, and I'd have to go in and, kind of go through the tour they give you, and then sit through somebody trying to pitch me on buying 500 years of subscription to go there, and I don't like to be sold, and Well, let's say you bought one. Well, then they take a picture of you and you look ugly. It looks worse than your driver's license. And, you know, then each time I go there, I have to go there, I have to drive there, I have to, like, find a place to park. And then, you know, I got to go in and show them my badge. And then I got to go find the locker. And then I got to hang my stuff up and then it's going to drop. And, you know, I put on my stuff and I got to go wait for the first machine. It's probably sweaty, so I have to probably walk it, wipe it off. And then I go to one machine, another machine, another machine. Then I got to come back and now I got to take off my sweaty clothes. And now I got to go take a shower and see parts of people's bodies I don't really want to see. And then, you know, after all that, then I got to dry my hair again, put on my makeup, put on my clothes that are probably wrinkled, put in the smelly bag, and then I got to go show them the thing so they can stamp my thing so I don't have to pay for the parking. And then I got to find my car, and I got to get my car, and then I got to drive off. Want to eat? Sure. What does eating take? Well, you just do it. Let's just drive there and eat. Eating is 2 steps in their mind. Working out is 429. The way you chunk things is what makes you like them or dislike them. See, when I first wanted to drive that stick shift car, it was a lot of chunks. I got to watch the road, drive this, do this, push this in and out too, and watch the rearview mirror? No way. But now, you watch the road, you drive the car, you do all that's one chunk. It's in your body. How many follow what I'm talking about here? Say aye. So you can over-chunk something into too many items, or you can under-chunk it where it's overwhelming to try and do one big step. That's where the art comes as far as chunking is concerned. So in your life, you want to be able to come up with categories for your personal life, categories for your professional life. Does this make sense? So let's try something. Let's give you a quick little example. What I want you to do is, if you take a look here, I want you to, the middle of this circle is 0, and the outside edge is 10. 10 means where you want it to be. Whatever 10 is for you, it's different for everyone. So 0 is you're not where you want to be. 10 is exactly where you'd like to be. So if you look on the screen, what I'm asking you to do is, let's say, for example, the physical area of your life. And I want you to go. Now, notice this person went up about 70% of the way. They're a 7 out of the 10. Their idea of a 10, of what they like to be physically, they're not. They're not a 0. They're about 70, and they draw a straight line across. Then we look at emotion and meaning. And we say, where do you live emotionally? How much joy, excitement, happiness, passion, aliveness compared to what you want? How much meaning? And this person went 0 to 10. They went, you know, I'm about a 3. I'm about 30% there, or 2.5%, 25% there. Where are you compared to you are where you want to be? It's not somebody else's judgment. In your relationship, 0 to 100% of where you want to be would be 10. By the way, if you don't have a relationship, it would be 0. Just in case you need coaching on this. Okay? And then if we go time, where are you in the mastery of your time? Where time serves you versus you serve time. And this person says, yeah, I'm about 7 out of 10 that. How about your career? How's that going 0 to 10? This person goes, I'm an 8 on that. Draw a straight line across. Where are your finances? I'm doing damn good there. I'm at a 9 on my finances. And then where are you in your sense of celebration of life? If life is a celebration, you feel a great sense of contribution. They said, no, I'm pretty stressed. I'd have to say, honestly, I'm at about a 3 there or 2 there. Do yours real fast. Just draw a straight line across where you are. Center is 0, out is 10. 0 is not at all. 10 is exactly where you want to be. Just real fast. You got 30 seconds. Great. So look at your design that's in front of you right now and just ask yourself this question. If this was the wheel on the car called your life, how would your car run? Better yet, what if you're going to drive that car 150 miles an hour? What could you guarantee is going to happen, my friends? What's going to happen? You're going to crash. How many are going to have a lot of stress when you start trying to drive this thing fast? Say aye. Guess what owning your own business is? Driving 150 miles an hour, isn't it? So what used to be okay when you work for somebody else, it's kind of bumpy and stressful, when all the responsibility ultimately is yours, and it's out of balance, it's pure pain. How many can relate to this in some way? Say aye. Things get this way because most people ask the question, what do I need to what? Do. They don't have a set of categories that once a week they look and go, okay, what's my most important outcome for my body this week? What's my most important outcome for my relationships? Yes, in the middle of everything else, I'm going to put those rocks in first. Somebody gave you that metaphor, right? I'm not going to pour all the water in. First, I'll put the rocks in. Here are the most important outcomes for anything else shows up for each of those areas, because otherwise, the time's going to be gone. How many follow what I'm talking about here? Say aye. So that's what we do, a once-a-week planning session where we look at our categories, both professional or business and personal. Make sense? Now, the way we do that is with language also that's compelling. Here's some examples of how some people have chunked their life. These are their categories of constant, never-ending improvements. For Suzanne Williamson, it's family, business, friends, community, physical well-being, finance, emotional, and spiritual. This is my old list. It's been updated. It was my physical power, I called it, world-class health and fitness. By the way, why did I use that language? I could have just said body. It juices me up. Physical power, because I want the power to get up and rock, to take the room, to make it happen, to shift things for my wife, for myself, for my family, right? Second, emotional juice. Why do I call it that instead of just emotion? Because emotion doesn't, but emotional juice. I want an emotionally juicy life. Outstanding family life, extraordinary friendships, absolute financial freedom, Renaissance man, the Kanai of AJR, the constant ever improvement of myself, the creator of the good life for my family, extraordinary communicator, leader, contributor, force for good, and spirit and soul force for God. Those are my spiritual outcomes. Gene Carter has emotional fitness, family, heart, and soul, physical prowess, forever friendships, home sweet home, gracious giver, health wizard, spiritual soul. Here's what I want you to do. Write your categories right now. Just a first run. Do not be perfect. If you had to take your personal life and chunk it into 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, probably 12 most categories that everything in your life fits in, that you look at on a regular basis, write them down, but then put the words in front of them, rewrite them so they're compelling. I'm going to give you literally 8 minutes to write as fast as you can. Come up with the categories for your personal life. Go. How many think it would be valuable once a week or at least once every 10 days, 3 times a month, sit down and lay out a plan for that week or 10 days where you put the big rocks in first, looking at these categories, making sure you didn't miss the stuff that matters most to you. How many would agree with this? Say aye. Would you have to write down every action item, yes or no? What would you write? Your most important outcomes and why. Make sense? Now, so quickly, let's take it a step further. Let's look at the next category of professional, and I'll give you another wheel of professional just as an example. This isn't the wheel, because it's different for everybody. And let's put it up on the screen, and this is just a sample. This is not the business, this would be you. So this person says they run a department for a company. So one category they're measuring, am I empowering my teammates, my personal team, and our teammates in the company as a whole? They have some outcomes around creating extraordinary identity and relationships. Are we creating the relationships we need with customers? This person runs the sales department. Am I delivering my core must results? This person wants to measure that regularly. They say, all my life is really about empowering my team, making sure we have extraordinary relationships, making sure the core must I promise I deliver. I got to keep focused on that every week, every month. Certain amount of strategic planning, which gets set aside because I'm usually so busy in the to-dos. Certain amount of cost management I got to do because if I don't do the paperwork, the whole thing falls apart. And I'm going to keep making my skills stronger. I can't just keep doing what I'm doing. I got to take some time to make my skills better so that I'm sharpening the saw, so to speak. So I'm not hacking at the tree with something that's bad. I got to take it up to the next level. How many follow in a sense of this? Now that person would measure those, but here's some examples of that. So I mentioned to you, I have 4 kids, but I mentioned my daughter Jolie, so I'll use her as the example. And she, was in a situation where she became an actor. Now as an actor, think about this. What do actors focus on? Quick, first gut. Somebody says getting a job. Okay. If you're focused on getting a job all the time and you're not making your skills stronger, you might not get that job. How many follow this? Say aye. Some people focus on just training themselves. Lots of actors always going to acting classes, but they don't go out and focus much on getting a job. They wait for someone to call them with an opportunity. How many follow the challenge? Some of those people, how do they get jobs? If they're a decent actor, they've got a what? An agent and or a manager, and sometimes both. And without focus by that manager or agent, are they usually going to succeed? Yes or no? No. What if they get a job? Where does all their focus go? On doing that job well. So if I'm middle job, I'm doing the job well, and I'm not anticipating how to make my skills better. I'm not managing my manager agent. I'm not looking for new opportunities. And in the acting skills, no matter how good you are, your jobs disappear quickly, yes or no? Eventually, do they all disappear, yes or no? We can keep our businesses forever if we're successful. That's not true of a job. That's not true of an acting job. I don't care how successful, 10 years, 12 years, 14 years, it's going to change. So my daughter Jolie was always stressed out because things were always dropping out. So I said, honey, she goes, it's just so impossible. I can't do everything. I can't manage my career and go out and get voice lessons and dance lessons and then, go out on calls. And I'm just listening and I'm in my head making a write down, capturing a list. And she's telling me a million items. But as she's listening, I'm saying, there's only 5 things she really has to focus on. And these are the 5. She needs to maximize her current what? Jobs. She wants to make sure the job she's on, she's doing the maximum job she can. That's got to be a daily focus. But she can't use that as an excuse not to also make sure she's working to obtain what? Does she have to constantly be going out on rolls still, paying attention, knowing what's out there? Yes or no? If she drops that out, she might do well here and then she'll be without work forever. That's typically what happens. Some people win the Academy Award and they don't work for 3 or 4 years because they don't have a part of their focus. They're focused on the Academy Award, the victory, the celebration. How many times have you seen that happen? And then third, she's got to focus on the management of Jolie Inc. I said, that's what it is. You're a company. You got to manage your managers and your agents. Every week, she's saying, what do I need to do to make myself better at the current job? What do I need to do to make sure I'm keeping my focus on getting new jobs and networking, doing what's necessary? What do I got to do to keep on top of my managers and agents? They're not going to just do it without my focus. What else does she have to focus on? Expanding her current acting skills so she gets better. She can't use that as an excuse and then, when I have more time, I'll work on getting better. No. Even if it's once every 10 days, she's not working 7 days a week on a show. She can do an acting class. She can find the best coach. She can be going for a class once a week on her throat or voice, whatever. Right? And then, of course, the last one is being a networker extraordinaire, expanding to her identity. Guess what? Everything she can think about doing as an actress is in those 5 categories. And so if every week she's looking at that and thinking, what's the most important? Come on, guys, nice and loud. Most important in that area or outcomes in that area? Is she going to stay on target? Is her career going to be... By the way, what happens if we take that wheel and we take whatever's strongest on your wheel... I'll show you what I mean. This should really be interesting, me doing this visually. If we take your wheel of life, your wheel of your career, and you got one thing like this and another thing way out here and something else like this and something else like this and something else like this, and this is your shape of your life, we all know what's going to happen. It's going to be stressful. But if we find the strongest area, let's say it was your finances or your career or whatever, and we find that outside edge and we use that as the target for the base of where you are right now. And now we say, what's it going to take to close the gap between here and here with my body? What's it going to take to close the gap from here to here in my training? Because guess what happens? Once we get here and it's all rounded, even if it's not 100%, who knows what's going to happen? How much smoother is your life going to be? And by when it's smoother, can you go faster? Easier or harder to go faster when it's smooth? This is the power of RPM and having categories of constant, never-ending improvement in both your personal and professional life. Because, by the way, sometimes you're doing really well in all the categories in your business, and then you have a divorce, which kind of interrupts it just a smidge. Who knows what I'm talking about here, right? Or not a divorce, you got a problem in your family. Somebody's not feeling loved, not feeling appreciated, whatever the case may be. This is the goal of what we're trying to do here. So you can create categories within your professional life, but the one I want to get for you is let's do one together that I think will be helpful for you to chunk all we've done this week. Let's look at a business. Let's look at some categories that you're pretty familiar with. And the reason you're familiar with them is this whole course has been focused on them. What's one area of business, if we go starting at, kind of 1 o'clock, that you've got to constantly focus on, my friends? What's an area? Mastering what? Come on, nice and loud. What's another area? Next. What's another area? Yeah, how important is time? And notice we said time and what management? That's what this is. This is the part of the training on results. Results management. What else? Cost management. What else? Innovation and constant improvement of products and services. What else? The legal systems, technical systems. What else? Culture. What else? Now, they could come up with their categories, but you could probably fit 99% of your business in those 8 categories, couldn't you? By the way, you could fit almost everything we've taught you, every action item you have within one of those categories. So instead of this big-ass list you have at the back of your book, maybe it's time to chunk it, so it's not so overwhelming. And by the way, once you chunked it, some of it you could hand to somebody else and go, these are your outcomes. Help me clarify them. Here's why they're important. Go figure out how to do it. And by the way, when people know the outcome who are competent and they know why, do you need to tell them how? No. In fact, they may come up with a better how than you would. How many follow this process? Say I. So here's what I want you to do. Let's do with where you are right now. Every business I own, how am I able to walk in and have 12 companies? I've got companies that are doing $150 million in business with 1,200 employees. I've got businesses that are brand new startup-oriented businesses. I got businesses in the hospitality side, meaning a hotel. I've got businesses in nutraceuticals. I've got practice management companies for doctors. I got this educational business that I'm a part of. They're all radically different businesses, but guess what? When someone's going to talk to me about it, I can take everything they're saying and put it in one of these 12 drawers. So every business has it. So here's Namali. Namali is my resort in Fiji. It's the #1 resort and spa in the country. 525 acres, 3 miles of ocean frontage. And I got everybody from, you name it, Anthony Hopkins, Quincy Jones, you name the celebrity artist, musician. We're the top place in the country to go, right? Built the thing from scratch. How do we make it better and better and better and win all the awards? Because we've got categories of constant, never-ending improvement, and we're focusing on how to improve it always, the X factor in each category. So what do we got? Effective business and financial plans so we can run the company effectively. Securing all of our event revenue, because in the travel business, there's a certain way you have to secure the revenue. Managing and mastering our what? Maximizing and improving our what? Marketing and sales systems. What else do we want to do? What's our language for this? Keep customer promise and create what? And mobilize them. The reason we got all these titles and all these awards is because customers come out of their minds. It's the greatest vacation in their life. When I told Chet about it, Chet's been all over the world, and Chet's, been to some very nice places, and we're good friends, but he was like, yeah, Tony, yeah. And then he emails me and calls me, this is the most incredible experience. And he's crying at the end. I've never cried leaving a hotel before, like I didn't want to leave. Because it's an emotional bond, it's an experience. It's not just the beauty of the place, it's the people. So there's a very different experience for people here, right? What else? We got to keep re-engineering, strengthening, improving all our what? Technical communication, customer databases. We have to have world-class organization of what kind of employees? And who else? That's right. We constantly got to improve and present the finest what? Now, most of the rest of these might fit in your business. Unless you're in the restaurant business, you probably don't have food on the list, but we have to because it's part of our business. You got to think, what's the most important thing? You got to constantly improve, so nothing's left out. We got to maximize and improve our current community impact because I believe we must impact the community. So we have 2 villages on either side of our resort, and we employ about 200 people. We're the biggest employer in the area, and we send all the kids to school as my gift. I've been doing it for 22 years. So guess what? When all hell's breaking loose, thank you. Thank you very much. I appreciate the acknowledgement, but I'm saying it to you because when all hell breaks loose, guess what? Our people, the community there supports us completely, right? We didn't do it for that reason, but there have been a couple times there was a coup in that country. It happened many years ago. When the coup happened, some people are coming, they're going to say, I'm going to ramshack this resort, and guess who was standing out there? The entire village standing in front of the resort saying, you're not touching Tony's property. I was like, okay, that's pretty cool. But what you give and you give and you give, it comes back. An identity. I've been through the births and the deaths and the upsides and the downsides, and we're there together. But it's because it's a focus for me. By the way, with all of my life, could you get off track and miss some of these? Yes or no? This is the ultimate checklist. Notice it's not what to do. It's the category, what must always be improved, and now you think of what the outcomes are. And you measure them annually, quarterly, etc. And then finally, create effective plans for capital improvements because a resort's got to constantly be improved, right, physically. So there are several examples here and you can look at later. Here's what I want you to do, real fast. You can use the 8 we just wrote down in the wheel, or you can create something else, but I'm going to literally give you, I want you to do this quick, what are the 6, 8, 10, 12 categories that cover your whole business? Make your business categories of constant improvement. Your first run at it. We won't have enough time to finish it, but I want you to get a good run at it. Ready? Go. How many got a decent outline already of the categories of your business? Let me see your hands. Fantastic. How many have added some language that makes it a bit more compelling for you? Great. That's what you'll finish. Ideally, here's what I would do before I got home, when I'm on the plane, whenever. I'd upgrade my personal list, and I'd set some goals in each category. Just a few things. Simple things. I have my categories for my business or my profession. I do the same thing. Sometimes the outcome you want takes a long time. It's not 1 week, 2 weeks. It's a project. So a woman comes to me and she's stressed out of her mind. Her name's Nisi, and she's got her wedding coming up. Now, have you ever seen a bride who doesn't have a wedding planner, or even one that does? They're very often very stressed. So she comes to me and goes, I'm so stressed out about my wedding, and the reason is, I'm doing all these things and really want to conserve the money, so I've got a wedding planner, but I can't use them in a limited way. I said, I understand. She goes, but also, it's my husband-to-be's 50th birthday coming up, and I want to do a surprise birthday party. So while she's trying to plan her wedding, she's also trying to plan a surprise 50th birthday party. Now, how many action items do you think could show up when you start making a to-do list on those two things? In the middle of all your life, and she wants it to be absolutely what? What? And by the way, perfect will make you really stressed out on top of it. And all the language she's using, I'm so stressed out, I'm freaked out, I'm stressed out, I'm freaked out, I don't know what to do, I don't know what to do. Keep saying that over and over again. I said, first, let's watch the language. Not the F word, I'm happy with that. I just mean the words that you use are putting you in a lousy state. If it puts you in a good state, I'm fine with it. Some people use words that other people will be upset about. They excite you. Let's take a look at this. Let's first step to getting a plan is called capture. Take all the stuff in your head and write it down. It's really like making a to-do list. That's still the first step. Get it all out of your head and keep it in one place, not 20 places. Like many of you have written on notepads over here and a book over there and a thing over there, and you're going to try and figure out where the hell to find this shit later on. Okay? You need one place. Whether it's in your iPhone or whether it's on your computer or whether it's going to be, on a paper version of something, one place, right? A planner or something. But in her case, here's what we did. We created a capture list. We split in two things. Keep it simple. Things she's got to communicate versus results, actions, or projects she's got to get done. And so this is what we came up with real quick. She's got to call KP to put out signs. She's got to call and confirm a band. This is what she starts telling me. I start writing it down. I need to take care of the parking situation. I got to rent 2 vans. I got to have a Friday breakfast. I got to have a Saturday breakfast. I got to have a Saturday lunch for everybody. I got to order the direction signs. I got to order the meat trays and pick up at Sam's. I got to pick up the donuts on Friday and Saturday. Oh my God, I got the plates and the silverware and the cake tables. I also got to get. Oh, I got to get the caterer for Saturday and Sunday. Oh my God, I got to call and get an MC for Gary's party on Friday night. Oh yeah, and I got to order the mic and the podium for the party in the hotel. How many are starting to feel stressed already for her? And by the way, it kept on going and going and going. And so by the time you're done with your capture list, it'll be like taking this 5 days and turn to the back of your book and reading that long list. You go, oh, no, I hate Tony Robbins. I hate Chet. I hate them all. There's so much here. I'm going home to all this other work. Unless you chunk it, right? Unless you're clear. So what we do is begin to chunk it. And when you have a project, it's not just this week, something that's long-lasting. You got to come up with an ultimate what? What's your ultimate what? Come on, guys, your ultimate what? That's right. What's the ultimate outcome? What's the ultimate result? And so we came up with it with her. We said, what are you really after? Stop telling me all things you got to do for your wedding. Tell me what you want. We get so caught up in the doing, we forget what we want. Same thing with your business. So caught up in the doing your business, forget what you got in business for. So she says, well, we finally I want to create the wedding of a lifetime. That's an incredible experience for Gary and for me and totally fun for all of our guests. That's different than I got to put on a wedding and a party perfectly. What do I want to do? Create a wedding of the lifetime that's an incredible experience for Gary and me and fun for our guests. Why? Second question, why? She says, it'll be a remarkable beginning for an awesome marriage. I want to express my love to Gary in ways he'll never forget in both the wedding and in the party. I want my family and friends to have so much fun. Now she remembers why she's picking up those signs or getting someone else to. Now we say, let's not write all the to-dos. This is a big project. Tell me just the key results. The big results that have to happen for you to have the most incredible wedding possible. She said, well, I've got to handle enough events in advance that I'm assured the weekend will be a success, and that'll make me relax during the wedding and even coming up to it. If I can handle enough of the most important events in advance. What else? I got to have a pleasurable Friday and Saturday evening enjoying my guests while the details are being taken care of by other people. She got that. Now that she knew her outcome, she knew how to get there. What else? I need to set up a fun day of shopping with Kim and Kay, her best friends, so we can spend time with them while we're shopping for the wedding things. So instead of feeling I'm stressed and not spending time with my girlfriends during the wedding because I have so much, let's have them take shopping with me. Let's do it together. And what else? I need to create a fabulous surprise 50th birthday party for Gary on Friday night during the rehearsal. Each one of these will become an RPM block of its own. How many follow that? By the way, once you do a few people's experiences like this, you'll start to see there's a pathway, a pattern that's the same for most weddings. Effective weddings, happy weddings. You'll start to know maybe the words change, maybe somebody has a 50th birthday, but you'll start to see the same pattern. And what took a long time to do the first time, you can do in seconds now. It's the signature. So let's take a look. One of those outcomes was create a fabulous surprise birthday party for Gary on Friday night. Why? Purpose, she's creating an RPM block. Why am I doing it? To honor and delight Gary, to have fun, to create a magic moment, to share my love with him at the deepest level. Okay, what's it going to take for me to create a fabulous surprise birthday party for Gary on Friday night? Well, I got to pick up the signs. I got to order the cake. I got to pick up the cake. I got to get an MC. I got to get an accurate count on the guests. I got to confirm the count to the hotel. I got to get a microphone. I got to get good stuff hanging on the signs. She'll then go to the next part of the project. But this RPM block is done. Guess what's cool? She can go back through that list and go, who can I leverage this to? Or how many of these things can be done simultaneously? And guess what she ended up doing? She got 3 friends. One did all the signs. One did the food. One did all the things related because she was more technically driven on stuff. And the 3 of them had a blast together getting it done. They put on the party perfectly. That sets up Friday night perfectly. By the way, how much does she breathe? And how much time does it take? All this sounds like a lot, but she estimated how much time will it take beside each one? And she goes, that's actually only 10 minutes. It looks like so much, but when you add up the total time, it's 3 hours. And I got 3 weeks. How many follow what happens here? In our head, we make it so much what? Bigger. And by the way, time will fill, activity will fill whatever time you give it. So when she locked it down, it's like, okay, that's handled. What's the next block? And all of a sudden, guess what her wedding became? 6 RPM blocks. 6 outcomes. 3 friends helping her. Everything went perfect. She was out of her mind. And most importantly, she felt totally in control of her life the whole time. That's a project. Now, you might leave here and do a project called your RPM for, let's say, one section, marketing. One section, sales. So you say, what's my marketing outcome? You'd be very specific about the outcome. Why are we going to do this? And then, what are the action items? You know, I'm going to go look at the core story website, Empire's website, and I'm going to read it all. Second, I'm going to brainstorm out what I think the story should be or the core elements. Third, I'm going to do the research here. Fourth, or I'm going to hire Empire. I'm going to bring in chat to come in or the group to come in and train our salespeople on it. Whatever you're going to do, that's the part of it. What else am I going to do in marketing? I am going to go take a look at our advertising and take the 17 items checklist of top advertising and make sure that's what we're doing. What else? And you make your list. How many follow this? By the way, it'll take initially some time, but when it's done, you'll have a master plan for transforming your whole business.